Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on October 11th, 2022 at approximately 6:48 a.m. PST. It's really remarkable how much you can change things in a hurry. When things really start to take off. Now, one of the biggest things I've found, I've been running around in circles, as you well know. But where do you start? How do you get going? The reality is it is time to stop wasting time. Okay. Now, that is as much a message to me as it is to you. You know, I've got to give a real thumbs up to Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio. He spent a lot of time with me yesterday just getting things working so I've got an idea of what I'm up to. Okay. Very important little factor. Now, I'm still going to be going through some transformations and what have you. No question there. The reality of it from my standpoint is we have to take a look at it and go, okay, how are we going to deal with this? Well, the first thing you have to realize is that we are not, from my standpoint, when I say we, you, myself, everyone out there, you've got one of two choices. You can stay right where you are, or you can get off your tail feathers and start making things happen. Okay, a couple of weeks ago, I decided it was time to get started on my exercises again. Well, the sad reality was I made a very big mistake and tried picking up. I've been not doing the exercises for a couple of weeks. Okay, and the sad reality of that is that when you do that, it creates a complication because I tried picking up right where I left off and ended up throwing my shoulder out. Okay. So what I did this time, yesterday I said, okay, I'm changing my life right now. I'm not going to wait another couple of weeks. I'm not going to wait another couple of days. The reality of it is when you're looking at the way your life is going, it doesn't matter how long you put it off. When you get to actually change it, it is right here, right now. And every single one of you has exactly the same situation. This is the only time in your life you will ever change anything. Okay, even if you put it off for a week or two, maybe you're as good of a procrastinator as I was. Okay, maybe you've got that down to a fine art. I don't want to start. I'm going to start on Monday because that's the best day. The best day is whatever day of the week you come up with the idea. Do not wait anymore. So I decided yesterday I was changing it. Set my alarm to get up at 5:30. Okay, so I've been up for, let's see here. I've been up for just over an hour. Okay, and with that in mind, forgot to do this part. With that in mind, I have already got the laundry started. Okay, I got up, did what I had to with the washroom, got my shower in, got all sorted around, got my bed made. Now I'm ready to leave the bedroom. Okay, because I've got a master bath, so I don't have to leave the bedroom to get to the bathroom. Okay, got the laundry sorted around, went over, got my son's lunch from his mom's place. Because she likes making that. That's another story altogether. What I'm getting at is here I am sitting in my office working on this right now. I've done all of that in the first hour of the day. Okay, you have the same capacity. And all it took for me to accomplish this is to go, I'm not waiting anymore. Now, Twisted Sister did a beautiful song a while ago that went, we're not going to take it anymore. Now, I am by no means a hard rock, heavy metal. I don't know what genre that fits in, but I am not a fan of that kind of music. But that doesn't make it bad music. Okay. So it's up to you. Are you going to tolerate your life the way it is currently, or are you going to get up and go, I'm not waiting anymore? it is time for me to change things. Okay. And once you get to that point, you will find that things start to shift pretty quick. I'm absolutely certain of it because I know they certainly changed from my standpoint. My schedule for the night, like the way I've laid things out, and this is simply a matter of stubborn disposition. You put a list together of the things you've got to accomplish, but remember when you're putting the goals together, break them down into 15-minute to half-hour goals. Okay. By doing that, you will get a lot more accomplished than what you were expecting. Now, from my end, it's real simple. Okay, and like I said, I do this, and I've come to the conclusion that doing these videos works really well for me, kind of like a personal vlog. It lets me look at it, and like with the journal that I used to write, I don't go back and read it. Okay, Lord knows I don't. But when you make up your mind that you're going to shift things, okay, then you take a look at it and go, okay, now is when it's going to start. Now, I put a list together and I've moved mine from paper for the most part onto digital. I am trying to get into the 21st century here, okay, which is really kind of an interesting challenge in itself. So the way my schedule today is looking is I get this done, like I do this particular video. When I get done it, then I will turn around and get the editing on the Yldrbac Chronicles, The Return to Paradise, which is the third book I've got coming out. Now, if you're interested in those, I have two active websites. Okay, rkeithandrews.com and Yldrbac.com. Okay, and if you look below this video, you'll find every method of contact listed. Every way listed there to get a hold of me. Okay, now I came to the conclusion, I was debating whether or not to wait until later in the day. I am looking at, in the near future, shifting gears. And it might happen today, I just don't know. But going live on the longer version, I'll be looking at getting on the air. I'll be looking at going live on YouTube here at 9 o'clock in the morning. Now, 9 o'clock PST. Now, the reality of it is I may do it today, I may not. I don't know what my schedule is looking at. This is what's called the transformational period. But when I look at it, I take a look at you look at where you work on your finances. That is a critical area to transform your life. Now, you got to remember, if you look at the axiom that the state of your house is a reflection of the state of your mind, by extrapolation, the state of your mind is also a reflection of the state of your house or your primary work area, however you want to look at it. Now, the neat part about that is this. It is, try and figure out, you figure out for yourself. Is it easier to change the way you look at the world, or is it easier to change the physical appearance of the world around you? That's where you start. Now, I will tell you, and this is real easy to figure out, okay, you got your pen in your left hand, or in your left hand, yeah. If that's my left hand, I've got a problem. I've got my pen in my right hand. If I don't like it there, now I can think about putting it in my left hand, but as you can see, it doesn't exactly change until I actually get up and do the physical work and go, here we are. Now I'm going to move it. Now you'll notice I didn't fall down writhing in pain, but I did alter where my pen was. The same thing applies. If you look at my back videos, you'll notice all this area up here behind me is all full of clutter. Okay, clutter slows the brain down. Now, you don't have to take my word for it. Okay, as a matter of fact, I recommend you don't. Okay, I am a firm believer that until you physically experience something, you may have complications trying to sort it out. But you take a look at it and go, okay, what's working for me? Now, right now, and I've got to stay focused on this aspect myself. Once you start down a process, the only way you're going to get there, if you're trying to drive from one city to another, once you start, the only way to get to that city, or to get to the, if you're trying to go from the couch to the kitchen, the only way you're going to do that is to get up and actually make it happen. But that's on you. This is not something I can force to happen. Matter of fact, it's not something anybody can force to happen. Okay, so what I'm looking at this point is how do you actually go about making this happen? Okay, well, it doesn't start by waiting for an event to occur. It starts by you going, I'm changing my life now. This is where I'm changing things. Okay, how do you go about that? Well, it literally is a simple fact of going, I desire this to shift. Now is the time to make it happen. Now, when it comes to, I am looking at the way my life is going and saying, okay, I'm not content. Now, can I blame you for it? Certainly. However, I would rather sit here and say, hey guys, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for encouraging me when I've faltered. Okay. Thank you so much for the support. I could go on, but let's face it. The reality is I could wipe out my entire day for the amount of things that I'm actually thankful for. Now, do not get me wrong. I am still likely to remain a recluse for quite some time. I can't see that altering anytime soon. However, I am doing my best to break out of that. But in order to make that happen, I have to change my outlook. If you desire your life to be different than what it's been for however long it's been that way, you're the one that's going to have to pick up the tool. So let's face it. Start with the easy part. And this is one of the reasons why I wrote this. Okay. This particular little book, that is the backbone of how I changed my life. Okay. This little book and any one of the books I've written, I've got in stock here. And I've come to the conclusion that the reality is if I'm going to change my life, I'm going to have to make it happen. I'm going to have to figure things out. And this whole idea of looking at going, oh, that's difficult. My eldest brother, okay, used to have a saying where it came to computers. He'd be trying to teach my mom something. And he'd go, look, it's easy, Mom. You just do this. And my mom would get really confused with it. Of course, so do I. And I finally looked at Mom and I said, Mom, he is right. It is easy. Computers are a snap. Once you can get them working, once you understand how to make them work. Changing your life is the same way. It's child's play to change your life. Once you accept how it happens. Okay. You can get all the thoughts in your head, all the guidance from everybody you desire. Okay. But you're the one that's going to have to get up, get off your tail feathers and make it happen. Just like I had to. Okay. I'm no different than you are. No one in existence is any different in this respect. Okay. Every single person is responsible for their own success. Now, I am writing another book on how to do that, on how the formula for success that is transferable into every single person, every single business. There are no exceptions. I believe in using tools that are straightforward and apply to everybody. Okay, but rest assured, the tools I offer you, the tools I talk about are the ones I personally am putting to use. These are the ones that I absolutely look at and go, how do you go about it? Okay, and does it apply to everybody? Do you need a staggering amount of money to make this happen? You can make these philosophies work if you're living on the street with no income at all. Okay, now you have to take a look at things. It is imperative you put boundaries in place for you. What are you going to tolerate? What are you going to accept? But remember, karmic law comes into play here. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Okay. Whenever you're looking at how you desire to be treated, be absolutely certain that you turn around and you treat people, you treat material stuff, you treat people's belongings, your belongings, the same way you desire other people to treat you and yours. Okay, this is absolutely critical. If you do not do this, you're going to run into a very, very serious complication. Because karmic law, energy out, energy in, really translates into this. Whenever whatever energy you put into something, that's the energy that comes out. You desire your life to change. You desire to transform your life from the struggle it is to the relaxing, prosperous life that you envision. One of the critical factors here, aside in the next critical factor, is you have to be the one that goes, okay, I'm going to look at the energy, I'm going to look at what I'm doing and alter the things that are not contributing to that part of my life. Okay. Anything that gets in the way. Okay. And I do mean, and again, this boils down to what you do. If you're looking at something, like if my desk is cluttered, okay, which realistically it's not. I've got a little bit of paper right here for note taking. Okay. And it sits right beside me here so I can make notes. But you'll notice this is over on my left side. And the only way I'm going to get this left hand of mine working and writing again is by picking up a pen and doing it. Now, I have a reason for doing that for me. But again, it boils down to this. It's something I'm not content with. Therefore, the only way I'm going to make that happen is by putting it to work. It's like this. I got my coffee cup on that side, and the way to get the left hand to work properly is to put it over where I have to use the left hand. Of course, putting it behind my shoulder is kind of pointless. But the way to make things happen is for you to take a look at the energy, the way the energy is running in your house. And don't worry about being able to see energy. That is something I end up doing. But you start off with wherever you are. The best place to start a transformation is right where you're standing. That is where you start. Okay. Now, one of the biggest flaws that I have, I cut way back on the amount I was spending at restaurants and what have you, and that worked great. And then I got used to the idea of, oh, I've got this cushion that I can work with. Bad concept. That cushion, as soon as I dropped below it, the bottom fell out. So I don't have that cushion right now. So I've got to look at it and go, okay, right now I was spending at 25 bucks a day. I was spending $400 a month. Okay. I was spending $400 a month on one restaurant in particular, because it's the only one in the city I go to. So what I've had to do is say, okay, from here on out, I am only going these 2 days. I still like the 2 days. Okay. Because it's wing day, which I like wings. And then on Friday, I go down for fish. Okay. But that will cut me down from $400 a month to less than $200 a month. Just like that. And it just boils down to going, I'm not doing this. You have the same capacity. Take a look at where you're overextending. This is why understanding your finances becomes very critical. Now, I'm not going to deal with that today. I will deal with that. Actually, I think I'll make that point. Okay. Like I said, it really boils down to getting things organized. I don't know if that's going to work. It takes a lot longer for me to write with my left hand right now, but The more focused I get on it, the better. Okay. So here's the thing. I'm making a commitment to myself, and yes, I'm telling you about it, so that if you happen to be one of these people that gets up in the morning, okay, and decide to catch me live, then this is where I'm going. So today I'm looking at this whole idea of how do you start your transformation. Tomorrow I will take a look a little bit more in depth at the impact that finances have. Okay, right now you have to make a decision for you, because whether you make the decision right now while you're seeing this for the first time, or whether you make the decision to start in a week or 6 months or whatever, it doesn't matter. It is still going to be right here, right now, when you make the alterations. Okay, now I can tell you, do I pay attention to how many people are in the chat room or listening in? Right now I do, but I no longer am looking at it going, oh gee, I don't have very many people. I had to come to the realization, and Dave was phenomenal at helping me understand this. Right now I'm sitting at, I think, 311 subscribers. I don't require everybody to be in the chat room. Okay. What I have to understand is, to those of you that are listening in, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I am really happy you're here. Okay, and I do hope you continue this journey with me, because it's time right now, right here, wherever you are, whatever walk of life you come from. This is the time to change our life. And as people do this, one person is not going to change the path society is on. Okay. And yes, changing your life will affect society, but my concern right this moment is your life. Are you ready to get up and alter it to something that you personally desire? Okay. Now, the array of things that you could be working on are staggering. Okay. Maybe like I was a year ago, maybe you're at a point where you're going, I desire to drop weight. Okay. Now you're probably phrasing it in your own head, I desire to lose weight. Okay. Now, maybe that's what your transformation is, where it's starting. Okay. I'm at a comfortable weight. I still am aiming to drop another 20, 25 pounds at this point. Okay. But I'm also going to be building up my strength levels. Strength, stamina. These are things I'm working towards. But perhaps you're considering opening up your own business. We're going to be covering things like that in the future as well. The philosophies, not the mechanics. Okay, the mechanics may change from one city to another. They may change one country to another. But the philosophy, the mindset, whether you're running a small business, whether you're just trying to run an effective household, the philosophy between running a household and running an empire are exactly the same. Okay. Now, if you'll notice up on the sheet up here beside, and I gotta see, I think that's pointing right. Anyway, you'll notice this one yellow sheet right where the heck is it, right there, that says I am worth it. Okay. Get that in your head as strong as you can. Now, I've got that sign there. Okay. You see the wooden sign. As a matter of fact, I'll show you that wooden sign. Okay. I went a little overboard in some ways. But this is the one that I made. Okay. I took the time with a magnifying lens and the sunlight to make this sign for myself. Now, I'm not an artisan by any functional stretch. Okay. But I have that sign obviously in my office. I've got another one laminated on my fridge freezer up front. Okay, that says the same thing. And I've got another one right on my front door. And this is what I'm talking about when we take a look at the tools that I personally use. Okay. These are the things I personally am doing. And what I'm going to be doing from this point forward, I think, I'm going to be doing my best to get one short video out first thing in the morning. And then a little later in the day, probably, and it won't necessarily start today. Okay. But I will be getting out to do a longer live feed later in the day. Looks like probably 9 o'clock in the morning Pacific. Okay. See, as soon as I'm done with this video, and I've already had the call in, I've already got the call in that my editor is ready to go. Okay. So the Birth of the Wolf Pack is already out. Okay. That one's already out. This one here is the sequel. That's called The End of an Epoch. Okay. Well, there we go. The Return to Paradise is the one I'm working on right now. Okay. And I finally got focused. So as soon as I get done this video, which is pretty quick here, then I go into editing. Okay, to make all of that happen. Now, of course, like I said, every book I write is available directly through me. I do take PayPal, and I do take email transfer. Okay, in Canada, email transfer works. If you're not in Canada, okay, then PayPal is what I use, and that gets used through, that's what gets used with Inner Voice Enterprises at yahoo.ca. That is the email that you use to get a hold of me to pay through PayPal. Now, you can follow me on LinkedIn. You can follow me on Twitter, on Facebook. Okay, and of course, most of it is done under R. Keith Andrews. And I'm going to have to just take a double look at that to make sure I get everything right. But if you look down below this video, you'll find a whole list of ways of getting a hold of me. Okay. And, so if you've got questions, absolutely drop me a line in any one of the contact points that I've got. I will do my best to get back to you as quick as I can. And of course, if I happen to be live, ask whatever it is. But I'm going to make one request because I saw this just yesterday. Okay. There was one individual in the room that was constantly putting in their own advertisement. Now, this, I don't mind people talking about different things by any stretch. But when all that is happening it's just about what they're going through, that's what your own YouTube is for. Okay, that's what your own channels are for. Now, I'm a firm believer that everybody does have, they require a voice, etc. But, again, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. And yes, the individual that was doing it knows exactly who they are. Okay. As a matter of fact, the reality is I'm not going back to look over names or anything. But I do encourage you, absolutely, now is the time to change. If enough of us change the way that our behavior is being handled, then things will shift. This society will get back on track. The path it's on right now, I will tell you, it's going down a disastrous road. Now, with this in mind, as I said, my editor is waiting for me. So I'm going to bring this to a close. I will do my best to be back a little later. Okay, I'm likely looking at, I'm looking at possibly in a couple hours here, but we will see what happens, and I'll let you know as things stabilize, because this is the point of transformation. When I said transform your life starting today, starting right now, this is the leading edge of the change that I'm making. Okay. Now, I can offer you the tools, but it's up to you to pick them up. Now, and to utilize them for that matter. Now, with this said, I'm going to let you go. You have a great day. Thank you so much for joining me. And until we talk again, take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.